Just getting ready. Join me for UEFA Champions League Fantasy Football Show today.
Hello and welcome to UEFA Champions League Fantasy Football Show, presented by PlayStation. No PLO, but it isn't too late to join the party. If you haven't picked your fantasy team yet, simply log on to uclfantasy.uefa.com or download the UEFA Champions League Fantasy app and start splashing your imaginary 100 million euros. With match day 2 transfer deadline day just around the corner, we have 2 experts in to help you get ahead in the game. Our fantasy football expert, Tom Fenley, hello.
Hey.
And former Arsenal and Germany goalkeeper, Jens Lehmann, hello.
Hello, nice to be here.
So Jens, not a bad week for your former team Arsenal. Alexis Sanchez scoring the equaliser earned him 6 points. Match day 2 against Basel may be a different sort of task, but how important is Alexis Sanchez to Arsenal?
When you look at him last season, he already scored, I think, 5 goals. No, not 5 goals, but he was one of 5 goal scorers. So, which means he's 20% of the total goal scoring force at Arsenal's Champions League campaign. If he can improve a little bit, then probably he would take Arsenal even beyond the quarterfinals, which would be a great achievement. He's a fantastic player for Arsenal.
He certainly brings a lot of energy to that team, doesn't he? And you made over 60 appearances in the Champions League. What was your most memorable time in the Champions League?
Oh, I had a couple of big disappointments and a couple of nice moments as well. So probably the last 2 games for Arsenal in the Champions League in 2006, when actually we were playing in Villarreal. And they got a penalty at the final minute, and fortunately I've saved it. And then we were cheering on the pitch, and a couple of weeks later I was sent off the pitch at the final. So yeah, that was linked quite big, I think, because sometimes it's a little bit of fate or whatsoever. Yeah, one game you're the hero, the next game you're the villain.
So Tom, you've done some digging on what would be statistics of Jens Lehmann. Go for it.
So he would have lost some points that season because he deducted a few points for being sent off, but they still gave you goalkeeper of the year as well.
Yeah, because I was fantastic.
There you go.
Excellent. Well, Tom, you don't have any actual playing Champions League experience, but you certainly are an expert number cruncher. Who were our biggest winners in match day 1?
Jan Oblak was the top keeper. He had a great start this season at PSV. Not only kept out a penalty, he also made 4 saves and kept a clean sheet. As in real life, keepers are crucial to the game because you can have players that play on the Tuesday and the Wednesday and you can substitute them. It's a good idea to pick one keeper from the Tuesday matches and one keeper from the Wednesday, so that if the Tuesday keeper has a shocker, you have a backup to come in and hopefully keep that clean sheet for you.
Dortmund doing very, very well. Socrates Papastopoulos would have been great for points in Scrabble.
Socrates is an important guy because for me he's underestimated. He does fantastic work against big guys like in Germany Lewandowski, he's played Ronaldo, and he's really hard to play because he's always on you. So he gives them a lot of stability and some toughness at the back, because most of the guys nowadays are a little bit, even the central defenders, they're a little bit soft at times, but he is the opposite.
He's a true defender.
Yeah, very good.
And a certain wonder boy who's making a name for himself, Kimmich.
Oh yeah, Kimmich is a guy who actually appeared on the international stage last season when he played under Pep Guardiola, and he actually looked, or must have looked, at Philipp Lahm's qualities, because he's his teammate at Bayern Munich, and Philipp was a fantastic right back and left back for Germany. And Joshua applied to some moves and techniques Philipp had before, and I think he could be a fantastic solution for the right flanks for the German national team.
Right, a great credit for him. So Tom, against Atletico, Kimmich may not start, we're not quite sure.
He's a versatile player though, as Jens said. He's played in different positions, and we actually have a name for that in fantasy football, called it out of position. And in this case, because he's classed as a midfielder but may play further back at times, we call that a reverse out of position.
Okay, hold on. So we've got the oops and we've got the roops. Is that what you're saying?
You could call them that, yeah,
okay.
Exactly. And it gives Kimmich a bit more of a chance to play, but bear in mind he is a risk.
And one more thing, Lionel Messi, he's injured. So get him out of your starting 11 ahead of match day 2.
Absolutely, and that's a lot of money to leave on your bench. So you're probably going to need to transfer him out. Also remember, if you've already made a transfer, you can still make another one, but it's a -4 points
I've picked
deduction.
Messi.
Or you're going to have to get rid of him. Jens.
Okay. I pretend being his agent.
Oh,
I'd like to sell him every week.
Well, you never can get enough advice when playing fantasy football. Earlier, we caught up with Rudimental to find out who they would suggest transferring into your team ahead of match day 2.
Player that I'd have in the team because his hard working ability and his distribution of the ball has been pretty decent last season anyway. Drinkwater, I'll definitely have him.
I'm going to say Rashford.
Champions League.
Choose the dream player you'd have in the Champions League as an up-and-coming player.
Yeah, in a fantasy league.
That
You
wasn't
can't just
in
bring
there.
Man United
That was
into
the
it all
last
the time,
question.
bro. They're not in the Champions League yet.
I think I'll go with Suarez. I think he's going to get a lot of goals and he's also getting a lot of assists. But yeah, he's an exciting player. Love watching him. Technically, skills, like he's just a great player to watch.
DJ Locksmith there from Rudimental, bigging up Leicester City's Danny Drinkwater. Tom, give us the dirty on formations. What's the best one in fantasy football?
Well, I tend to set up in a 3-4-3. This maximises the number of forwards and midfielders you can have. This game's all about getting goals and assists. So you want the guys that are going to be getting goals and assists, and they usually play further up the field. It also limits your defenders. Having 3 defenders, you know, you'll maybe pick up 3 clean sheets from those 3.
But they're a liability, right?
Exactly. Well, and you can also sub in, you know, so that gives you 5 chances of clean sheets. But yeah, I tend to start with a 3-4-3, and then you can change that formation throughout the match day.
And Jens, when you were playing, did you prefer having 3 in front of you in your defence or 4 in front of you?
That
Or 5?
that didn't really matter to me, because most important was that there was one fast defender, because then we could really play together with me sweeping or him sweeping to sometimes corridors where I couldn't get. If you had a 4-4-2 or a 4 at the back, I don't know, and there were only slow defenders, it was difficult to defend high up, so it was difficult for the setup of the whole team.
OK, well, enough formations. Tom, give us some of your hidden gems for match day 2.
Well, as DJ Locksmith just mentioned, Danny Drinkwater, I've got a player that will be up against Leicester on match day 2. It's Porto's Andre Silva, who, as we talked about earlier, is going to be playing out of position.
An oop.
Exactly. So he's classed as a midfielder, but he plays up front for Porto. He's scored 3 goals and got a couple of assists in 8 appearances so far. And yeah, I think he's a good price at 6.5. Good chance of scoring against Leicester. Further back, we've got a player who I really like. He's called Fabinho. He plays for Monaco. They're playing Bayer Leverkusen match day 2. He's the holy grail of fantasy football defenders.
Tell us why.
Well, he's on penalties and he's scored 5 goals in 10 appearances this season, which, you know, when you can get a defender for 5.5 million euros and he's scoring that much, he's a must-have. Then, in forward positions, I like the look of Napoli at the moment. Milik, their forward, he's definitely one to consider.
Well, hold that. Milik has actually got a bone to pick with anyone who didn't pick him for match day 1.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13. O! Jeśli nie wybrałeś mnie w pierwszej kolejce do Fantasy Football, jaki był powód? Przed meczem z Benficą polecam Ci Marka Hamsika, bo fantastycznie potrafi obsłużyć swojego partnera podaniem.
Just see Milik there suggest Marek Hamsik. Jens, would you pick him in your team?
Oh, I like this player. He gives something special to your team. He can pull a whole team forward. He's got a good strike, fantastic finish. So he adds something different, and it's good for a team to have him.
Just time now ahead of match day 2 to have a little look at our teams. Jens, interesting team name?
call them sweaties.
Right.
Because I have a group of ex-players in my hometown where I'm living now, and I've called them sweat pearls.
Nice.
Yeah,
Is that a
so-
compliment?
Well, kind
Your
of.
hometown?
Well, pearl is a compliment, and sweating, you know, when you come to an age where you can't run that much anymore, you start to sweat earlier. And so I just was thinking of that.
Okay, well, that's lovely. Tell us about your team. Who are some of the stars you've got in there?
Well, I only could pick 3 players from Bayern Munich because they're of my hometown right now and they're a good team. So I picked Neuer, Boateng and Lewandowski. I have Luis Felipe and Godin from Atletico Madrid. I have Kroos, Özil and Iniesta.
A lot of Germans in there.
Well, yeah,
okay?
of course.
Happy with that?
I mean, we're world champions, so why not to pick them? And I have Lewandowski as well, Polish guy, unfortunately born a little bit too far east. And otherwise he could have been German.
Yeah, yeah.
And who else? Suarez.
Oh, right. He's got that nasty streak, hasn't he? But I think that's what makes
Big
him a good
teeth,
player.
big teeth.
Don't discriminate against people with big teeth. Christian Karrenberg last week scored 47 points with his Fantasy Football League team. Do you think you can beat that?
Oh, Christian is hard to beat. He's a good guy, good expert.
But
I
does he have
hope.
the champion
I
Fantasy
hope.
League knowledge?
Yeah, he must have. I mean, if he got 47 points. So I hope to beat him, but as I said, difficult.
Christian's 47 was okay, but nothing compared to a whopping 129 points by Matisse. Tom, your team, who are some of the gems in yours?
Oh, some gems. I've also got Suarez, and he's going to be my captain, I think. I've then got Aubameyang from Dortmund. Just like rotating your goalkeepers, it's also good to rotate your captain. So I'll have Suarez as captain on Tuesday of match day 2, and then I'll probably swap it to Aubameyang if he doesn't score.
A lot of
I've
pressure.
also gone for Frank Ribery.
Yeah, Frank is not always reliable.
He's
Because-
got 7 assists so far this season.
Yeah, but he's, you know, sometimes when you need him, he's injured. So it's,
So maybe that will be my transfer this week.
Okay, excellent. Well, I also have chosen Suarez as well as one of my centre forwards. I've got Vincent Janssen from Spurs up front, who scored the other night as well. I've gone Leicester heavy though, because I'm a big convert to Leicester City. So I've got Riyad Mahrez. I've got Robert Huth, solidifying my defence, good German defender. And as my captain, I've got Chiellini. The Italian rougher-upper, so I like a sort of good character.
That's interesting, playing Suarez and Chiellini in one team.
Yeah, you think? And finally, because finish on the most important one, I've gone with Hugo Lloris in goal, Tottenham goalkeeper. Very, very agile goalkeeper, and you know, Spurs maybe are leaking the odd goal this season, but I think he's part of the spine of my winning Mrs. Brown's boys. That is it for this week. There is just enough time for me to thank Tom.
It's been a pleasure.
And Jens, thank you.
For me as well, thank you.
And good luck to everyone playing fantasy football this week. Remember, it isn't too late to pick your team if you haven't already done so. Just log on to uclfantasy.uefa.com. Bye-bye.